I'm like a mix between an introvert and an extrovert.
Like, I've never met someone who had
You have to be able to be adaptable.
medical school to run my entire life.
You want me to start from the beginning?
From the beginning.
In class?
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes people can get lost in...
I was like, what is happening, right?
Yeah. Most people think medical school leaves no room for anything else. But today we have a first-year medical student who's also a published artist. So welcome to Casual Conversations. I'm your host, Lawrence, and I have here...
My name is Talia Denis. Like Lawrence said, I'm a first-year medical student and a professional touring musician. So happy to be here.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. You know, when I first met you and I heard that you were a published artist and you had thousands, hundreds of thousands of listeners on Spotify, I was like, wow. Like, I've never met someone who had any accomplishment like that before.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was
thank
like,
you so much.
yeah, of course. And especially being able to give flowers to people who are doing amazing things while in medical school, because the sentiment is that within medicine, that's really your main focus and you don't have time to do anything else. And so I want to just say, like, take me through how it all began
Okay. You want me to start from the beginning?
from the beginning.
Okay. So I guess where I'll start. So I always grew up with music in my house, and my parents weren't really musicians, but they were lovers of music.
Mhm.
So I always grew up, playing piano and singing and making up my own songs and things you do as a little kid. And you know, I always thought that we watched a lot of live music
Right.
DVDs
Mhm.
in my house, so like live concerts and things like that. And it always looked like the artists were having so much fun on the stage.
Yeah.
And so I remember being like, oh, like I want to do that. So my dad was like, oh, okay. Like he got me a little microphone and a speaker, and I started singing. And eventually he helped me get some more gear. And by the time I was, I don't know, maybe 9 years old, I think is when I put out my first demo song on YouTube.
Hmm.
And I put it out, and two producers from New York City found that video, and
Oh,
they
wow.
reached out and they were like, hey, like, do you want to do an album together? And so we were like, oh yeah, like, of course, like, I'd love to do that. And I was, 9, but I was like, wow, this is so cool. Well, it turns out the two producers were actually really big time musicians.
Mhm.
The one was a guitarist for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and a bunch of other bands. And the other was a bassist for Suzanne Vega and was the musical director for Kinky Boots on Broadway. And so it became this really big thing. I ended up doing the album with them, which was an amazing experience. And we had all of these cool other like accomplished musicians that came and joined the project. Like for example, two of the drummers that I had on that album, one of them is a drummer for Duran Duran, the B-52s, David Bowie, and the other one worked with Paul McCartney, Sarah McLachlan, Peter Gabriel. So I was like, what is happening, right?
Yeah, those are like
a
big
lot of them,
names.
yeah, they're like my idols.
Yeah.
So that's really how it started out, and I put out that album. And I just kept recording, and I started touring officially when I was 11,
Mhm.
because that music came out when I was 10 or 11. So started touring around the U.S. at 11 years old with my band, and I had multiple renditions of my band throughout the years as from when I was 11
Mhm.
to pretty much about COVID time. But I really just kept doing it, kept playing shows, and just having a good time sharing music with the world.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the general story of how it began.
Yeah, that's honestly really nice, especially having your family, your father, seeing your talent early on and wanting to invest in that. I think it's so cool having just a creative skill that you could develop from a young age
Mm.
and just being able to, put yourself in the right places where you could create music with artists that people only dream of meeting. And I think that's really dope that you had that experience from a young age. So, do you feel like how do you think that has shaped you as like a maturing individual?
Mm. Yeah, well, music was such a big part of my life for so long, and it still is.
Hmm.
Um, But with all the different adventures and experiences I had throughout music, I was put in a lot of really great but also really stressful situations
Right.
that I learned that I have to be able to handle on my own. Um, so, for example, the one that I always give as an example for just like the amount of stress that I could be under was one time I had the opportunity to sing the national anthem at
Oh
Madison
my
Square
gosh.
Garden
Yeah.
for a Rangers game.
Uh-huh.
And I think I was 13 or 14 years old. And I was like invited to come sing the national anthem, which was shocking. And I was
Mhm.
so excited, but so stressful, right? So I get there and um, I had this whole outfit planned with like this Rangers jersey that I had bedazzled and I was like so ready. The first thing that they said was like, oh no, like you can't show support for a team.
Mhm.
So there was an outfit change like that had to happen with like the people working the show, and that kind of like was something that we didn't expect. And then right before I went on the ice, there was they announced the team. I forget who they were playing,
Mhm.
but the away team,
Right.
and the boos that you hear
Dang.
of like in Madison Square Garden
Yeah.
was so loud. And right after that was when I had to walk onto the ice. So you can imagine
Yeah.
13, 14 years old. I'm pretty short in stature and I like I haven't grown much since then. Just little me like walking out onto the ice with I don't know if it's 25,000 people,
Mhm.
raging hockey fans that are booing
Yeah.
the away team. And here I am like walking out on the ice and I do the national anthem. Um this.
Yeah.
So I do the national anthem, and all I remember is walking out on the ice
Mhm.
and walking off the ice. And I
Okay.
completely blacked out during it.
Yeah.
So just like learning how to deal with stressful situations like that, I feel like, I don't know, it gave me more tools in my toolbox to learn how to navigate that, manage stress, be the only one, like no one's going to help me
Mhm.
out on the ice. It's just me. So
Yeah.
just figuring out how to navigate that from an early age. Just moments like that I feel like were I always call them like character building
Yeah.
moments. So and that happens all the time on stage. I mean, something is bound to go wrong no matter how much you prepare.
Mhm.
So just learning how to deal with that, but also with music, of course, like you have to be good at creative thinking.
Right.
So whether it's, in a problem solving sense or like a writing music kind of sense, I feel like that's definitely helped me like mature into someone that can like I guess go into the field of medicine and handle all the stressors that
Yeah.
come with medicine and the things that arise that you have to deal with. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree 100%. First of all, having to sing the national anthem, I feel like if anyone asked me to do that, even if I was a great singer, I would say no because that's like one of the hardest things. If you mess up, that's so embarrassing. It's going to be captured for the internet to watch for how many years plus.
Mhm.
So just you even picking that up, I think that's a huge accomplishment right then and there.
Thank you.
And like I understand the whole blacking out, not even being able to remember what happened because you were just trying to like there was so much stress coming up beforehand. You're just trying to, just have it happen, and then your body was just like, you know what, we accomplished that. Let's just move on from it. So
Exactly.
I definitely could see that. And so yeah, that is definitely very stressful, especially compared to what we're gonna do in medicine and having people's lives in our hands and stuff like that. And so within medicine, you're early on right now. A lot of it is doing studying. So how have you been able to manage the stress of studying, and how is it comparable to um your musical career? Is it
Mm.
easier? Is it more difficult?
That's a good question. Well, I would say medical school is it's hard,
Yeah.
right? I mean, um, nobody will question that. It's a lot of work,
Hmm.
but I'm a very regimented person.
Hmm.
So I like my schedule. I have a certain amount of hours that I will dedicate to studying every day. That's pretty constant. Um, and I really try to stick to that because I don't know, I guess it gives me I like the routine.
Right.
It makes me feel like I'm on track and I like laying things out and knowing that I'll accomplish a certain goal or a certain topic or something
Hmm.
by a certain time. Um, so, which I feel like I can be more regimented in medicine than I can be in music. Music can be a little more, not creative, but a little more, it's more flexible.
Right.
And with the amount of information that we're getting in medical school, you kind of have to have at least for me, I have to
Hmm.
have like a strict plan in order to make sure I accomplish everything by the time I want to. Um, I would definitely say medical school is more stressful. Well, I guess maybe in a different way.
Yeah.
Because, I could have crazy experiences where I black out. I haven't had anything, no exams or anything where I've blacked out
Uh-huh.
for medical school. But definitely think that medical school is very stressful.
Yeah.
But it's important to know how to manage that. And for me, it's having a routine and making sure I just stick to that and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've we've had exams where I left the exam, I asked myself, what the hell did I just take just now? But fortunately they do go well, but there are some exams I'm like, from what I studied, there was barely that same amount covered on the exam. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, that really sucks. But like what you speak to, having a structured schedule, it is very important. And I could say that I have something very similar as well. And so I try to get as much work done between a specific amount of time because I don't want medical school to run my entire life, Because I think it's really important to have some type of outlet that balances you as a person. Because as future physicians, our patients, they're human beings, they like to do things. And I think sometimes it takes a little more experience in the world rather than just um, spending so much time in the books, a lot more experience in the world so that you can be able to, understand where your patients are coming from, understand who you're going to treat, and just overall develop yourself as a person. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that you're able to find that structure and having that background in music. You can even compare the two and see w- what helps you work best. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's good that you share that. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like there has been times where things have just probably been way too stressful. What's your go-to way just to, just snap back and get yourself back together?
Mm. Yeah. Well, recently I've really gotten back into fitness and going
Hmm.
to the gym, which I
Yeah, I've
feel
seen it.
like,
I've seen it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just like I feel like it's such a good way to refresh my mind, especially either at the start of my day before I get into all of my studying and my Anki and all of that.
Hmm.
It's a great way to just kick off the day strong and feel like I did something for myself. And then I can spend the rest of my day feeling good about, dedicating it to medical school things. In addition to that, um, staying creative musically I've found is really important to helping my stress level, which is something that I I kind of underestimated in
Hmm.
the earlier parts of medical school. So I
Right.
would say it's crazy to say this out loud, but I put away my keyboard
Oh.
for months. I took it out of my room because I wanted to focus on medical school in the
Hmm.
first few months that we had here because I was like, all right, this is what I'm here for. All of my time is going to be spent studying.
Hmm.
Like, that's all I'm going to have time for. And this is like my focus. And, you know, and those first few months are always known to be the hardest.
Yeah.
So once we finished that, you know, we had winter break and I finally brought my keyboard back up and I realized that during that period of time, so the application cycle before medical school and
Hmm.
also starting medical school, I, in those early months, I realized that by putting my keyboard away, I kind of like felt like I was missing a part of
I
myself.
know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So it became apparent to me at that time, I got back into playing and writing music during winter break, which was so good for me, like mentally and creatively. that I realized that it's a really important part to have active for me throughout medical school
Mm-hmm.
to remind me of, who I am. Music's still such a big part of my life, and I want to keep it that way, even though I am dedicating myself to this career.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important for me to keep that up and be creative and write music, and eventually I'll put more out. But I found that, I was missing a part of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've worked to reincorporate that into our current classes and my studying schedule. And, I'm the type of person where it's hard for me to do something for myself before I finish everything I need to do for that day.
Right.
So once I do that, I feel like it's my time to, whether it's the end of the night, 10, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever I have time for it, to just play something, to write something with my keyboard. And I use Logic, so on
Yes.
Mac.
Yeah.
So do something creatively in some way just to give my brain that break. And medicine, I think, is also it can be very logic based, but it's also a creative field. But I feel like this lets me be creative in a different way. And
Yeah.
I found that it's really important for me to keep that up in medical school to remind me, of that part that is a huge part of my life. But so I'm slowly finding a balance. And I think I'll always be searching for that balance because medical school is so demanding and everything's always changing. And we have different classes that require different amounts of work.
Right.
But I think that I've found that it's important for me to keep that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it's so great that you say that because sometimes people can get lost in, the rigorous aspects of medical school, the continuous level of material that we're getting throughout the weeks. But for you to decide that losing your piano was sort of losing a piece of yourself, that really resonates with me because in between like exam periods, me not being able to do stuff like this, I kind of feel like there's a part of me missing. And sometimes it even leads to me being distracted because I'm in my head thinking, dang, when's the next time I'm gonna be able to like record something or edit? And so I think finding that balance, which you were able to do, is so important. And just realizing that you're not losing studying time, you're not losing, getting the highest grade. What you're doing is you're also developing yourself overall as a person, like we mentioned before, because like you still want to have some type of aspect of yourself that you call you because we're going to be in this career for a really long time. And so you want to be able to do things that develop who you are, especially before you came into medicine. And so stuff like that, that's what I like to showcase on social media or just have people who do creative things, who do things at such a high level. That's so cool that I want them to be able to showcase that and forget that and never forget that that's a part of who they are. That's a part of their story.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I will say, I feel like a part of my realization that I could keep up doing like my creative outlet in medical school was actually seeing you and
Oh,
other
wow.
people in our class, like keeping up their, whatever their creative outlets are, like
Yeah.
this.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so this is possible. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's what kind of inspired me. I feel like part of the reason to, find my balance. I was like, this is clearly possible. And it's clearly such a big part of your life. Music's such a big part of my life. So I was like, let me search and find a way to incorporate this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you can do both and do well in medical school. So I always say if there's something that you're passionate about, figure out a way that you can implement it while studying within medical school because you never want to find yourself years down the line and you wish you had done something else and you kind of feel drained. And so, yeah, you can definitely do both and definitely succeed in both. But it does take a good amount of time to invest and know when you have to invest in like medical school to make sure that you also succeed in that aspect because it does pick up very quickly and it goes by very fast.
definitely. Yeah. And especially in those first 3 months,
Yeah.
I do think that it was a good decision for me to just focus on medical school. It's
Yeah.
what I had to do. I think it's what a lot of us had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we've gotten through that period, I think it's easier now to explore how can I be creative while being in medical school.
Mhm.
So that part is nice, and it's fun to figure it out too.
Yeah.
But there are, of course, those moments where you're like, okay, this is the time for medical school. I have to, I have a series of goals that I need to finish, series of topics that I need to understand, and sometimes the creative things have to wait.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is.
All right. So, what is your go-to song? Something that gets you really fired, really pumped up.
I have so many.
Okay.
I have so many songs. I have a whole playlist that's dedicated to like pump up music.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
So,
Some
just one off the
songs.
top of your head.
Well, one off the top of my head. So if I had to say the one that has been prominent for years, including I remember listening to it before physics exams in undergrad, was probably "Rise Above It" by I Prevail.
Okay.
You might not know it. I don't think many people do, but it's a great pump up song. It's like a mix between modern rock. So that's been like my go to for a few years. So that's definitely in the playlist.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, I've never heard of it, but that is something that I'm gonna take a listen to after this. So, yeah, that's good. So now that makes me think. Sometimes during studying, people use lo-fi music or people study in silence. Do you use music when you're studying?
I do. I like lo-fi music.
Okay.
I do. I use there's a specific Apple playlist. I think it's called Study Beats. It has
Okay.
like a pink cover. If I can be listening to music like when I'm doing Anki or something where it's something that doesn't require like extreme thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I will listen to music, and it's usually like the Apple Study Beats playlist, which
Okay.
is a lot of lo-fi, good vibe type of music. Not a lot of words, which I've noticed. Even though I love listening to all of like, the music on the playlist that I've made, if it has words, it's actually harder for me to focus on what I'm learning.
Yeah.
So something a little more mellow in the background, I think, is helpful to me. And sometimes, if it's practice questions, like I need silence for that. But
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you
but a
on
little
that one.
Anki, then I'll listen to some
Okay.
lo-fi music. Yeah.
All right. That's really nice. And so I remember back in December around like Christmas time, you put on your story one of your really popular like Christmas. Was it a rendition or like because because the second I heard it, I felt like I've heard this before, but I'm not sure if I heard it from you because I've heard this song years ago before like we met. So it's really popular on your like Spotify playlist. So like how did you decide or who decides what songs you think will go really well for you?
Yeah. So yeah, that song. So I have two Christmas mashups, and
Yeah.
that's one of them. Where I mix two different songs together
Okay.
and fuse them together and create something like totally different than the originals, but kind of makes it fun.
Yeah.
I think the one I posted was like it's like a more rock
Yeah.
Christmas song. Yeah. So the way you have to do it is you have to look at what songs you can use. And I work with, for my newer songs, I work with two producers in Nashville. So we bounce ideas back and forth. And we came up with the idea of combining these two songs and create a whole plan. And you kind of just got to play around with it, see what works, what chord progressions match up. And obviously everything's like, it was Christmas related. So
Yeah.
that part's going to match. But yeah, you kind of just have to play around with it, and some things work, some things don't. When it doesn't work, you just have to find something else,
Yeah.
just like anything else. But yeah, it was so much fun to make, but so different too, because like you don't really get to combine two random songs together very often. So it was fun.
You know, I think seasonal songs like Mariah Carey, those songs really hit. So for you, I see the numbers and I'm like, yeah, that's a really good song for you. And it's really nice that you were able to put that together. And sometimes what I think is when you have something that's working really well, do you ever feel like you want to do more of that, or do you ever feel like you want to step out and try something new?
I think a little bit of both, right? I mean, if something's working well, I feel like the motivation is there
Yeah,
to do something else. Like,
exactly.
can we do it again?
Yeah.
Can we change it up a bit and like try something else? And that's where the second Christmas song came from. The first one was like, oh, this is so fun. Like people seem to be liking it. Let's try it again. And we did like another kind of Christmas mashup. Um, but of course, it's like, well, like I don't know. I guess how much can we change this
Hmm.
to do something like that's doesn't really seem like it's related, but is the motivation comes from the other song that did well.
Yeah.
So I guess a little bit of both. It's just creating in general is just so much fun. So I think if you're a creative person, you try to do whatever you can to make as much as possible, and if people love it, that's even better.
Okay. Yeah. And also, what I wanted to speak on was that before coming to the podcast, before like setting everything up, I remember when we were, what was that room called for employee health? And I saw you and I was like, yo, I feel like I know this person, but I've never spoken to this person before. So let me like start this conversation, right? And the perfect thing about you was that for some weird reason, when I reached out to you, you knew so much about this more than I knew, right? About the whole sound aspect of creating. And I was like, yo, how do you do something like that? Because I do remember you posted on your story about like managing like engineering or
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. And I was like, so Talia, how do you do this? And that kind of opened the door to me like learning more about your creative side, about like the things that you do. And so I'm like, there are so many people in medical school who are so talented that we don't know about, or like because sometimes medical school keeps you isolated or not really, it sometimes hides people's hidden talents. So I'm like, dang, I'm really glad that I met this like dope creative person.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. And so like your music aspect, it just like really does blow my mind, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. No, honestly, one of my favorite things is learning. Like, we have so many talented people just in our class at school alone
Hmm.
that I love when I learn something new about someone and they're creative or they have some other type of passion. It's so much fun to see like a whole other side of them. Because, yeah, medicine, everyone comes in and I feel like I don't think it's just me. A lot of people come in and they have this picture painted in their head. They're like, okay, I'm going to take this career seriously, of
Hmm.
course. And you have a set of expectations that you want to meet. And it's hard to know if it's appropriate to have, these other prominent aspects of your life involved or intertwined with your medical career.
Hmm.
So I think it's so fun to be able to find out all these hidden talents among our class and other passions that kind of make them who they are. And I think it adds to kind of, the person you're becoming as a physician. Just like an extra layer of who you are and maybe relatability to future patients or other experiences that you can take with you into medicine. So I think it's so fun to learn about everyone's hidden talents, I guess.
Yeah. So do you think that so online there are social media influencers and they do things that are creative. So there's this one, I think she's a psychiatry resident and she does a lot of EDM or concert going. And I think that's really dope, really cool, right? So how do you think that you're going to be able to scale your musical talent and use it as leverage as a physician or someone applying for residency?
That's a good question. Well, I think that my motivation behind music kind of is along the same lines of why I wanted to go into medicine.
Hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because, I started making music at a really early age.
Hmm.
And my whole goal of doing that was that I wanted to move people with my music. I wanted to heal people. I wanted to share something that, a song that I wrote that had some kind of healing or feel good property about it for me. I wanted to
Hmm.
be able to share that with someone else. And maybe if it was able to help someone else, then that's great. I feel like that is along the same lines of why I want to go into medicine. Of course, everyone says, well, I want to help people.
Right.
But I mean, truly, I think that that is the basis, the true basis of why everyone wants to go into medicine. You want to be helpful. You want to make a change in someone's life that is, you know, life saving or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so I think that I don't know. It's the two go together more than you would think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know like music is so powerful. You can hear a song and it'll take you back to a specific time in your life, especially when you were going through something emotional or just a time that you were really happy. So I think music can have such a strong impact in people's lives, and being able to, use that as a tool to continue to fuel you to move forward within your career as a physician, I think they blend well together, And I think a part of that is when I see you, I've seen videos of you on stage, and there's like so many people in the crowd. I'm like, to have such an impact on other people's lives, I think that's fairly similar to how you will have an impact on your patient's life. Just being able to, provide them with something that could benefit them or bring a sense of, relief or joy during, times of struggle. And I think you're doing a great job at that. And I feel like your level of confidence just to even get on stage, sing the national anthem, make music, I feel like this is something that takes years or like decades for people to, get to that level. And you've gotten it pretty early on. So like,
thank you.
yeah, yeah, of course. That's like an amazing accomplishment. And I feel like stuff like this, being able to put myself online, sometimes it is nerve wracking. It is intimidating because you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's listening to your music. But to be able to like just take that chance, and like how it happened earlier on, you were able to take that chance. You and your family were able to do that, and it's gotten you this far. So I think that's dope.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But
Okay. So I have this or that game. You pick one or the other, okay?
okay.
And then you can say like a sentence, but not too much explaining why. You have to choose, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Coffee or silence?
Coffee.
Okay.
But decaf coffee for me only.
Oh,
I am
okay.
only a decaf person.
Okay. I
Yes.
do want to ask you why, but we can't ask why right now. All right. Morning study or late night study?
Morning study.
Okay. Morning studio session or late night studio session?
Late night studio session.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Now, solo sessions or collaboration?
Both are fun. I'm going to go with collaborative session.
Okay. Now, which was harder? First concert or first anatomy exam?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with first anatomy exam.
Oh,
First concert, I was pretty young, and you
uh-huh.
kind of have like when you're younger, you're not as scared. I
Yeah.
feel like as you are when you're older, and I feel like you can feel more pressure when you're older. So,
Mhm.
first anatomy exam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, you answered those very, very well. I think like yeah, there are definitely aspects of medical school that can be very intimidating, and then there are aspects of music that are intimidating. Like even for how long I've been doing this, a couple months, a couple years, as soon as I turn on the camera, I still get a little, a little anxious, a little shy, and stuff like that. So, do you feel the same feeling um, as a seasoned musical artist?
Yeah, I think you always get a little kind of butterflies before you go on stage, but at this point, it's more so excitement
Hmm.
rather than stress, I guess. And I haven't been able to play out as active as I was before since before COVID.
Hmm.
But even still, like I don't know, it's different. It's more of an excitement rather than a stress.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. There have been times where I'm not scared, but I'm so excited to, get this thing going that I just start my body just begins to shiver and I can't like control that. So like what's a mantra or something that you do to, just stop the shakes, just to,
Mm.
relax yourself and get in the zone.
Yeah, definitely for me is deep breathing. It's so in both the, whether I'm walking into a big exam for
Mhm.
med school or I'm about to get on stage, um, deep breathing, I feel like helps me so much, especially for music because I'm singing. So you need to not be shaky when you sing, right? So,
Right.
um, being able to kind of center yourself in that way, especially in preparation for some kind of vocal performance or going into the studio or something like that. Um, Deep breathing is really helpful, but I do the exact same thing before a med school exam or
Hmm.
something. I feel like it definitely calms my mind, gets my mind and body on the same page and like ready to approach whatever is coming at me.
Okay.
So, yeah, deep breathing is my go-to, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, especially like before an exam, just to calm my mind, get in the zone, get relaxed, because sometimes being too tense could help me, well, have me like overthinking or messing up. So now, as a musical artist, there are people that you looked up to when you were
Mm.
early on in your career. And so, have you met some of your heroes so far?
Yeah, I've definitely had a pretty wide range of musical influences.
Yeah.
People ranging from I grew up on like Peter Gabriel, Sarah McLachlan, Phil Collins when I was younger. Transitioned to loving bands like Paramore, where Haley Williams, the singer,
Yeah.
is one of my biggest inspirations because she's amazing. Um, but definitely have been able to meet some pretty great people. I mean, I was able to go backstage for a couple different Peter Gabriel concerts and hang out with his whole band, and that was really awesome. Even I got to open for Fifth Harmony, so
Oh,
hang out with
wow.
that band, and forget who else was there. And then that opened up other doors where I was backstage with Demi Lovato and Little Mix and all of these crazy people.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been an amazing journey to just be able to meet these people that I picture so high up and
Hmm.
just to be having like a normal conversation with them or eating lunch with them or one of the when I opened for Fifth Harmony, my family was there and we were hanging out with all of the girls in the band, and one of them like my little brother was there and he was, I forget, maybe like 6 or 8 years old or something. And one of them just starts giving him like a piggyback ride. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this is so crazy. My little brother is like on the back of, I think it was like Camila Cabello.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
they're just like running around. I'm like, what's going on? But yeah, it's been like really cool to just be able to know some of these people on a very like casual
Hmm.
conversational basis.
Hmm.
So very interesting. I found myself in a lot of those situations, which I'm so lucky to have been able to experience. But it's been cool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, those are names that most people just hear online or on the radio, but you've actually been able to meet them. That's crazy. Is that like, where do those connections come from, actually?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, the music industry, it's big, but it's small at the same time.
Right.
So
Hmm.
as you meet more people and you play with more artists and you go to different conferences, like I would go to NAM, which is this big music conference in like Anaheim, California, near LA.
Hmm.
You would run into these people that are like either just hanging out and they're having a nice time doing whatever they're doing. And you just strike up a conversation with
Hmm.
them, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, like they do some crazy like thing in music," and you're like, "Oh, that's so cool," and you guys just start talking, and like that connection builds, and they know other people, and everyone starts collaborating. Um, So it's just like it just kind of happens, but it's been a very interesting journey. I feel like the music industry is a very it's I mean it's music, so it's a very
Yeah.
collaborative space. So everyone's always looking to meet someone new, try something new. So it kind of leads way to that, I would say.
Okay. That's good. That it seems like you've had positive experiences meeting like artists that you probably grew up listening to. Because sometimes people meet their heroes and they don't really have the best experiences with them. Would you say your experience has been overall positive, or have you had negative experiences?
No, I would say it's been overall positive for sure. Um, yeah, I can't think of a specific moment where there was someone that maybe I didn't catch them on their best day.
Hmm.
But you also, like, when that does happen, right? I mean, you never know what that person's going through or
Yeah.
what news they just got or whatever. So when that does happen, like, I wouldn't take it too seriously
Yeah.
anyway. But overall, I feel like everyone's been great. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been
Okay.
very nice.
That's good to hear. So you've been able to perform on stages before. What would you say? Okay, so I'll give you these two options. Would you rather perform in an audience full of your favorite musical artists, or in an audience full of like hundreds of thousands of people?
Ooh. Um, I think I would prefer the hundreds of thousands of people
Okay.
only because when you know the people, especially if they're like your idols, but if you know your audience,
Hmm.
it can be so much more stressful to perform in front of them
Oh, okay.
than a million people, right? So I've had some really small, like intimate shows where I know a lot of the people that are there. And sometimes those shows are more difficult or I get a little more
Hmm.
jittery beforehand than the shows that are much bigger
Right.
where I don't know anyone really. So I would have to say, as cool as it would be to share my music with like the people that inspired me,
Hmm.
I think I would have to pick the larger crowd show.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting the way that you put it. Just having those, close connections with people, it sometimes make you want to do as best as possible, and that could kind of get in your head.
Hmm.
And just being able to get on stage, have fun, and just just have a great show. I could see why you're picking hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you ever feel like after a show, like I really crushed that? I know I was doing my thing on that stage.
I've definitely had some good shows where I've walked off feeling that way with my band, and we're all smiling during the show, and we all can tell we're having a great time, and
Mhm.
it like, yeah, and those moments feel great. And of course, you also have the shows where it's like that went so horribly,
Yeah.
like like a huge mistake, or one time I had my keyboard blow up on stage.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you have those shows as well where it's like, okay, that wasn't great, but we made it work. I mean, it's like it's showbiz, right? So
Yeah.
like you kind of just have to work with like what happens. But yeah, definitely have had those shows where it's like, yeah, that went really well, and like me and the band just had a great time just playing music, and the audience you could tell was into it, and so that just makes it even better. So I've definitely had those moments too. But
Yeah. I think a part of the skill that you're developing within music, just adaptability. And especially that'll go well within medicine, because sometimes things might not go as planned, but having a way to, reassess what's going on and just being able to perform at your best, even though there have been mishaps. I think that is a phenomenal skill, perfect that you're able to, develop that right now. And so yeah, yeah, that's actually really great. Having a piano blow up mid performance,
yeah.
I don't. I feel like I don't know how I would be able to recover from that.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because obviously, if it blows up, it means it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So that was something. But that your mic can die, like if you're using like a wireless mic, which I normally do,
Hmm.
that can die. A lot of artists they use in-ear monitors, which I used, where it's like these little. It's like little like AirPods almost, like but with wires that are linked to you know your tailored mix that you're hearing for on stage. You
Hmm.
can have things go wrong with that in your mix. All kinds of things can happen on stage, but you just have to kind of figure it out as it comes to you. And I mean, it's live, so
Hmm. Okay.
you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It does apply so well to medicine
Hmm.
because you have to be able to be adaptable and figure out what your next step is when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like that's been helpful to kind of my transition into medicine as well as being able to quickly change something on the fly and go to a new solution, I guess.
Yeah. And then speaking of performances, have you performed for anyone in class?
In class?
Yeah.
No.
I've seen, well, not necessarily a full production, but have you gone karaokeing with some people?
I did do karaokeing yeah, is that how you say it? Karaokeing?
I actually
That's what
have no
we're
idea if
gonna
that's,
call it karaokeing. I like
I
that.
don't know.
No, I did karaoke for the first time. Because I always like played shows.
Right.
But yes, I did do that for the first time in med school.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Actually, I haven't done it, but for some reason with karaoke, it's supposed to be so fun, but in my head, I just get way too like tense for some reason, and it's like no one's supposed to take it seriously, but I feel
Right.
like if I'm really that bad, I don't even want to hear it.
No, I'm sure it's great, but yeah, it's fun, which is it's nice and yeah, it's different than
Hmm.
like doing a show for sure, but I had so much fun. And
Yeah.
it's so casual too. Like yeah, it was really funny though cuz I was talking to some of my friends in the class and they were like,
Hmm.
"What do you mean like you haven't done this before?" I was like, "Well, it just, I played the show
Yeah.
instead of doing karaoke." So, yeah, but it was a blast. I highly recommend it. You should go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really should. I feel like a part of the social aspect within medicine, I don't necessarily, after exams, I don't go out
Mm,
to, whatever events that are going on. But I feel like I need to make the effort, especially if I'm trying to expand myself within social relationships, right?
mm,
And a part of medical school is you're always going to be busy. And as we become further on in our adulthood, there are going to be so many things that are going to require our time and attention, but it's the things that you really do care about that you'll intentionally make time for.
mm.
And so that's something I'm also trying to learn and figure out at the same time. Do you ever feel as though that's been difficult for you to intentionally choose to make time for certain relationships?
Yeah, I think that's been tough. I mean, medical school is just so demanding in
Yeah.
the schedule. And then once you have that free time when you finish an exam, you have like maybe your weekend free. It can be difficult to decide what to do because you're so tired and you're probably low on sleep and you're
Yeah.
probably burnt out. But at the same time, you want to be with friends is like your chance to kind of relieve some stress, catch up with people, catch up with old friends that aren't in med school that haven't heard from you maybe in weeks.
Hmm.
I know I'm sometimes that person because I get so invested in my studying and I want to do well on the exam that sometimes it's hard to keep up the regular conversations with your friends that aren't in medicine. But I I would say I'm like a mix between an introvert and an extrovert, but
Hmm.
more so extroverted. So it's definitely I do like spending my free time after exams and things like that with people in our class and
Yeah.
catching up with friends from maybe undergrad or whatnot. So I do gravitate towards that, but it is still challenging because you're also winding down from a really crazy academic period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. And it is difficult, and sometimes you feel that you're letting certain people down when you don't make that time, or you feel like things have become overwhelming. And maybe you may have made plans and you had to cancel, and you had to cancel a few times. And so that's something that I'm definitely trying to, overcome and just make the effort to, like have those solid relationships. Because sometimes I think medical school is the final time in your life where you have the opportunity to make friends, because once you're working, people got opportunities to fire you. They might they might mess you up behind your back. So I feel
Mm,
like this is the last opportunity to make those genuine friendships, and I think I need to
mm,
put in that effort as well. So yeah, exactly what you're saying is it's pretty nice being able to spend time with people in class and stuff like that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I also think that um, our class itself, and maybe it's just it's a like our schools type of thing, but I feel like our class is so friendly and social and
Hmm.
collaborative, and it's like great. So the people are definitely there and around to kind of hang out with, support you. Long study sessions. I feel like our class is good for that too. So it's nice to kind of find your people in med school and be able to kind of share that even when you're working really hard and you're doing long sessions in the library or
Hmm.
something. It's nice to kind of have a social outlet that's still it's study time, but at
Yeah.
least there's someone there with you kind of going through it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly. So what I wanted to switch was a game. It's called Guess That Song in 1 Second. I found a
okay.
video on YouTube. I haven't actually looked through the songs myself,
Okay.
but I think these are very popular songs. So
Okay.
as a musician, you've probably heard a lot of these songs. I just wanted to check to see how they are setting this up. Um, and I'll probably even have the audio playing on the actual video recording.
Cool.
So let's see before.
This will be very embarrassing if I don't know these.
All right, hold up. Maybe it's a situation where we might have to. Okay. All right, let me turn up the volume. I don't want you to see what the songs are, you know? Okay.
Just 1 second. Write in the comments how
Okay.
many you got right. Let's go.
All right, so we're gonna do, let's try to do 10. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
These are popular songs. And
Okay.
you can hear it, right?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
Please, please, please by Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that. I knew exactly that. I knew exactly that was the song. All right. All right. Yeah, exactly.
Yay. All right. At least I have one.
Sabrina Carpenter, she's been doing really phenomenally, like the songs that she's been putting out.
Yeah.
I know there's been some controversy, but just focusing on the music, she's been pretty good.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like listening to her music
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. It's always fun and something different. So
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, next one.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big like One Direction like person, but that's Harry Styles and I forget the name of the song.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not know. I've heard the song, but
I think. Is it?
yeah, Adore You.
Okay, Adore You.
That's
Maybe I get a
nice.
half point.
Here, listen,
Ooh.
that was a hard one.
Ooh. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even want to say it's Rihanna because that would be
I
so bad if I thought.
Well, I also heard a little bit of like Rihanna, but I
Yeah.
don't know a song where she sounds like that.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's see. Let's see. Oh,
oh,
it was
it
Rihanna.
was.
Okay.
Man, we should have trusted our gut.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you are very good.
Oh, Just Dance. No, it's Just Dance by Lady Gaga, not Poker Face. Just Dance.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like I've heard this song. It's probably an 80s. I don't even want to say Beatles.
Maybe like it almost sounds. I don't really remember, but it almost sounds a little bit like Queen.
Okay. All right, let's
But
see.
I don't think so.
No, you were right.
It's
Queen.
Queen. It's
Yeah,
Queen. All
yeah.
right. Toxic by Britney
Oh,
Spears.
okay, okay. Yeah, exactly. Wow, you are very good. All right, we have 3 more. All right, let's do it.
Ooh. Um. That also kind of reminded me of Queen, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that one.
Bon
Oh,
Jovi. Oh wow.
that's such a good song. I can't
Yeah.
believe I missed that. Oh, that is Heathens by 21 Pilots.
Oh wow. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've heard these songs, but I don't know the names.
Oh, do you know this one?
No, I literally was about to say. No, I'm not even gonna embarrass myself. I
It's
was gonna say fireworks, but no.
oh my god, what's the name of it? No, it's called Dynamite by, is it Tao Cruz?
Oh.
It's Dynamite.
Oh my gosh.
Was that the right artist?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know
Oh.
this one.
What's the band?
Yeah, I don't know the artist's name though.
Is the song called Soul Sister?
I know the lyrics are "Hey Soul Sister."
It's not Maroon 5. It's the other one. That sounds like Maroon 5.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the band, but I've heard them a million times.
I know exactly the song, and I feel like I've seen the video, and I think they may have been in a coffee shop or on some street. Oh, Train.
Train.
Yeah, that's the group.
Ugh, yeah, Train.
Yeah, I feel like you got 8 out of 10. Maybe.
All right, an
maybe
80.
even more. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That is very good. I got like a 2 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah, I knew 2 of the songs.
Well, you got Rihanna. You knew it was Rihanna. That one was
Yeah.
hard too.
Yeah, I was skeptical about it being Rihanna. I couldn't tell,
Yeah.
so I won't count that though. Yeah. All right, so now we're wrapping up. I think this was a very phenomenal show, especially being able to meet you and seeing like the creative aspects that you've been able to obtain before medicine and how you're going to, move forward with it outside of medicine. So, what's some piece of advice that you would like to give to somebody who's wanting to go to medical school and also has a passion for something creative? And what would you say to them to, kind of blend the two?
Yeah. I would say that, of course, it's important to come in and, know you want to do well in med school and give it your all. And sometimes that means you need to put being creative on hold, but it is important to make sure you still feel like yourself and you're finding ways to be creative if you have the time. And so I would say just if you can make time for it, because I don't know if it's just me, but I feel more refreshed after. I feel like I can study more after. I feel like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm able to give more of myself to medicine when I'm also fulfilling kind of my creative needs as well in music. So do what you can. And if you have the time, just keep that part of yourself because it's who you are. Yeah. So I think it's important to keep that. And also like, it plays a factor also in the person you're becoming as a physician. So I think it can be tough to find a balance, and I'm still trying to find a balance. And I probably always will be trying to find a balance in medical school because that's just the reality. But you can do it. You can do both.
Yeah, that was perfectly said, Talia. So I appreciate your words of wisdom. I appreciate you coming on the show. And like whenever I meet amazing people like this, I definitely would like to have them on again. So, any accomplishments, anything that you want to share, you are free and welcome to come on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
No, this was so
appreciate
much fun. I
Yeah.
appreciate you inviting me to come.
Yeah.
So.
And so that was Casual Conversations with Lawrence. We had an amazing guest, Talia, who was also a
Professional touring musician, I guess.
Yeah, of course, of course. And so it just goes to show you that within medicine, you can have creative freedom. You can have things that you want to do outside of it and be able to balance both. And we have great representation here of that. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah.